I think that the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of government. The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable e-cash, a method whereby on the internet you can transfer funds from A to B without A knowing B or B knowing A.
What is a Bitcoin?
What is Bitcoin? What backs a Bitcoin?
You put some of your money, real money, online, and it turns into Bitcoin.
I don't even know why we call them coins, except that they call it coins in the name.
I think Bitcoin has turned into a massive multiplayer online game where speculators are trying to out-speculate each other.
Is it a means of exchange or an asset class?
I see you taking my real dollars, and then you give me virtual money in return.
Thanksgiving dinner, my grandmother asked me, what the heck is this Bitcoin stuff anyway, right? And I said to her, do you remember when Visa cards first came out? You were used to paying with cash or with a check, and then a Visa came out. It was this weird payment system that you didn't understand. And she said, yeah, I remember that. I said, well, Bitcoin is just the next evolution of another payment system.
ビットコイン、すでに聞いたことがあるでしょう。大幅に変動する価格によって主流金融メディアでかなり注目されていますが、ビットコインは単なる一般的な投資商品ではなく、あの大騒ぎと興奮の背景には私たちの生涯で最も重要となり得るテクノロジーがあるのです。ではそれは一体何でしょう？世界を変える可能性を持つこのテクノロジーであるビットコインの特徴を理解するには、まずお金とは何かを問う必要があります。
Currency started developing 6,000 to 9,000 years ago, some sort of medium of exchange, and people used something of value. Societies around the world, though, started to select gold and silver as their primary currency about 3,000 years ago, and then about 680 BC, they became money when they were minted into coins of equal weights. Governments started creating representative currencies where you deposit your gold and silver, or they have gold and silver in the treasury and they come out with notes that are basically a claim check on the gold. So they're supposed to be as good as gold because you can always convert them into gold.
歴史を通して貴金属は政府の定めではなく、その独自の特性のためにお金として選ばれました。金は希少で簡単に識別でき、持ち運びやすく耐久性があり分割可能です。なんといっても金は発見が困難で、採鉱、精錬、鋳造は労働集約型であるため価値保存機能が高いとみなされていました。
At Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, delegates from 44 allied and associate countries arrived for the opening of the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference.
現代史の第二次世界大戦の終焉が近づく1944年、連合国はニューハンプシャー州ブレトンウッズという小さな町に集いました。ここで戦争の終結後に世界の金融制度を安定させる新たな制度の構想が練られました。米国は黄金の繁栄期に突入しようとしていました。米ドルは世界の準備通貨に選ばれました。
The Bretton Woods system was created after the Second World War at the Bretton Woods Conference in New Hampshire. And rather than using gold as the means of exchange between countries, as was the case under the old gold standard, the dollar was going to be used. The dollar was chosen because back then it was as good as gold.
この新体制のもと、世界の国々は自国通貨の相場を米ドルに対して固定しました。世界の金のほとんどは米国が保有していて、米ドルは1オンス35ドルで金と打換できることになりました。これにより世界各国の通貨が米ドルを介した実質的金本位制という制度が生まれました。
I have directed Secretary Connolly to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets.
ブレトンウッズ体制は約25年間持続しましたが、1971年8月、リチャード・ニクソン大統領は緊急記者会見を開き、諸外国はもはや保有する米ドルを金に交換することができなくなると発表しました。この衝撃の発表は後にニクソンショックと呼ばれるようになりました。 この発表によりニクソン大統領は実質的に現在の貨幣制度をもたらしたのです。それは金やその他有価物を本位とする通貨がなくなった制度で、これは不換貨幣と呼ばれます。
Fiat currency is currency that's backed by nothing except government promises. The word fiat is a Latin word, and it basically means currency that's circulating by force. If people have confidence in that currency, and if there's enough government force, that will enable the currency to circulate for a period of time until people lose confidence in the currency.
Money is a medium of exchange, and the way it has evolved is that it's always something of intrinsic value until the modern age, when the politicians say, well, we don't need anything of intrinsic value anymore. All we need is political decree. We can say this is money, this piece of paper is money. Now money has a new characteristic. But underneath it all, there's this same concept in place that nobody ever seems to challenge, and that is that governments have a right to declare something of no value to be money, and you must accept it. That's really the problem, and it's still the problem today.
今日私たちが使う貨幣には後ろ盾となる有形の保証がないため、世界中の政府は無限量の貨幣を制限なしに新規発行できます。また、デジタル時代の到来により、世界中の貨幣は今日、グローバル銀行データベースの数値と化しています。では、ビットコインとは何でしょう？簡単に言い換えれば、それはデジタル通貨で現在使われている電子通貨に似ていますが、同時にこの新しいデジタル通貨をある人から別の人に点々流通することを可能にする決済ネットワークでもあります。
Bitcoin's a new internet protocol that enables the transmission of value over a communications channel. You can think of it like being able to send a gold coin as easily as you send an email. You can send any amount of money to anyone in the world, anytime, can't be seized, can't be confiscated, can't be frozen. Very useful technology.
So Bitcoin is a digital currency and it is a payment system. So it's a payment system in the same way that bank networks are, or PayPal. Those are all payment systems. But it's also a currency. So PayPal and banks use the dollar as their currency. The Bitcoin payment system uses Bitcoins as its currency. So they both have the same name.
What is your opinion of disruptive digital currencies such as Bitcoin?
If you're looking for the idea that a currency doesn't really have to be something physical, it can be something that's virtual, that's the system we already have. You know, and if you want it to be, I want a way to make payments electronically, that's, you know, credit cards. I mean, so exactly what it is that this thing is supposed to be doing that we don't already mostly do.
Bitcoin is different from other fiat currencies in a couple ways, but not the way people think. So most people think it's different because it is a digital currency, but fiat currencies are also digital, right? So the dollar is a digital currency, the euro is a digital currency. They're all just ones and zeros in the banks of the world. So it's not that Bitcoin is digital that makes it unique. It's unique in that it cannot be created out of thin air. So dollars, euros, yen, these can all be created out of thin air by people who have permission to do so, which is generally a central bank. Bitcoin has no ability to create it out of thin air. So it is a scarce digital asset.
供給する通貨の新規発行サプライを官僚が非公開の場で決定し規制する現行の銀行制度とは異なり、ビットコインの新規発行統制は数学と暗号法が用いられます。ビットコインのネットワークは分散化されていて、取引や口座残高は一元化されたコンピューターやデータベースではなく、ビットコインの帳簿に記録されます。これはブロックチェーンと呼ばれ、世界中何万ものコンピューターに伝送されます。
There's something called Napster. We all remember Napster. We could download music and movies from Napster, but after a while it got so big and popular, the government came in, shut it down because of copyright infringements. No more Napster, right? So then somebody created something called the Bit Torrent Network. What's this? This is a software people run on their computers that allows people to file share. So if you run the software, you can go to things like Pirate Bay or Views or BT Junkie, and you can download any music or any movies you want, and they can't stop it because it's not a centralized location. Well, Bitcoin is the currency that runs on the Bit Torrent Network.
Why was gold and silver considered money for the last 4,000 years is because
It took work and effort to make that nice, beautiful coin. They had to dig it out of the ground and refine it, and the crucibles and the furnaces, and stamp it into a nice, beautiful coin. And that took work. So you didn't have to trust anybody that they were going to work for you. The work was already done. Well, Bitcoin, proof of work, is the same thing, right? You have to hash away and solve all these math problems. You have to have the chips and the electricity and yada, yada, yada to create a Bitcoin. It would cost today about $800 to make a Bitcoin.
I believe that Bitcoin has multiple levels of intrinsic value. The properties like being unconfiscatable, properties like this censorship-resistant value transfer that no one can stop you from sending. More importantly, what gives it intrinsic value is the productive capacity and the brain power of some of the brightest developers in the world that have chosen to work on this open source protocol. And this productive capacity of some of the brightest minds that are building it is what truly gives it value.
ビットコイン取引はすべてビットコインネットワーク上の何万ものコンピューターにより暗号を用いて検証されます。マイナーと呼ばれるこれらの超高性能コンピューターは膨大な量のエネルギーと処理能力を費やしてすべての取引の整合性を一件ずつ確認します。
So the miners basically validate transactions. All these transactions are flying around, and they have not yet been formally vetted by the network. If the miner believes the transactions are valid, it will put them in the block, and the block then becomes part of the blockchain. And over time, that becomes the record of truth. And so what that means is that if you receive Bitcoin and a few blocks happen after you receive it, no one can ever take that money away from you because the blocks have been stuck into the blockchain, they can't be reversed, and you know that the money is truly yours.
ビットコインネットワークの分散化された性質により単発的な障害発生点が排除され、ハッキングしたりシャットダウンすることが不可能になります。ビットコイントランザクションは第三者を介する必要なしにピアツーピア形式で伝送されるので、ユーザーは自分のお金を完全に管理できます。
It's impossible to be shut down. That's the beautiful thing about it. There is no Bitcoin place. You can't shoot Bitcoins.
It has no center of gravity. It has no headquarters. You can't shut it down.
The only way you could is to shut off the internet.
Your average person has absolutely no idea how their email works, but it works, and that's all that really matters. And Bitcoin's very similar to that. But as far as what I would do to tell people or describe to people who don't know about Bitcoin what it is, I would say it's a form of money that you can just use on your phone or your computer in today's digital age where everyone's on the internet, that is much faster to send than most of the banks, and it has, for at least since its inception in 2009, risen in value.
ビットコインの仕組みは難解に感じられるかもしれませんが、重要なのはこの革新的なテクノロジーが送金方法に変革をもたらしているということです。
Right now, every single payment that you make to another person goes through an intermediary. Either PayPal or bank or Visa or MasterCard. And more importantly, the governmental jurisdiction decides if you're allowed to make that payment. That payment could be stopped halfway through, and then you have to try and get your money back. With Bitcoin, no one can stop it. The moment you decide to send another person digital value, you can just send it. And there is nobody in your way. There is no one that has to give you permission to pay another person money, and all they need is an internet connection.
This has the potential to displace the need for banks as a trust institution. If you and I exchange currency or have commerce using Bitcoin and it goes on the ledger on the blockchain, we don't need a bank to confirm that that is a valid transaction.
One of the differences between Bitcoin and the banking system is it doesn't require a third party to perform. When you make a deposit into a checking account or a savings account, you are actually loaning the bank your currency. They now have title to it, and they have a liability on their books to pay you back one day, but they get to do anything they want with it, and you have this intermediary, this third party, counterparty that has to perform for you to be able to get your currency back. Cryptocurrencies invert the power structure. It isn't a few people at the top controlling a whole bunch of people at the bottom. The power goes to the individual.
In the same way that the internet flattened access to information and allowed anyone in the world with an internet connection to learn basically anything they wanted to know and to communicate with anyone else on Earth. Bitcoin does that with money. So now anyone on the planet, no matter their age or the arbitrary geographic location in which they were born or the arbitrary rules of the people that govern over them, that person can now engage economically with anyone else in the world directly. And that's profoundly powerful. You do not need a bank account to interact with Bitcoin. You do not need a bank account now to receive an honest payment from someone else in the world and know that the money is legitimate and good and can't be rescinded. So money now can't be censored. Any two people can send it between each other through Bitcoin.
Cryptocurrency Bitcoin has once again defied naysayers by spiking above $18,000 at one point today.
Bitcoin hits a new high. We had this incredible run up in the fall going into the holidays, and then we've seen a pretty big pullback.
This is a 30% loss in the week and a 50% loss in the year.
過去1年間、ビットコインの相場は大幅に変動してきたため、ウォール街や投資コミュニティの注目を集めました。ビットコインは今や取引可能な投機アセットクラスとみなされていますが、この重要なテクノロジーの中核的ファンダメンタルズは看過できません。何十億人もの人々が基本的な銀行サービスさえ受けられない発展途上国では、ビットコインの利用が極めて重要です。
People who see the price all the time, especially in advanced societies, they focus more on the price and they think that Bitcoin is an investment solely and that it goes up and down like a stock based on news and expectations. But the fact is, probably there's more people in these kind of third economies. They don't own a lot, but they own it, and they own it because they need it. Not because they expect to get rich or hope to get rich, because they need to protect themselves against both destroyed fiat currencies and against capital controls. So when people think of it as an investment, they have to realize that the reason that Bitcoin's so exciting is because it's a future money for the world, not because it's something that could become a great investment. It just so happens to be that both can be accomplished at the same time.
One of the great powers of whether it's Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrencies, if we can figure out how to scale the technology, we can solve a lot of problems in the financial system. We can transact with each other globally at very low cost and very efficiently. And there's tremendous market power in that. Has nothing to do with anyone in the financial system. People want to be able to communicate and transact with each other simply and quickly, and the hunger to do that is enormous.
現在、ビットコインは金融資産とみなされていますが、技術発展に伴い、ビットコインを支えるブロックチェーンは、資金送金以外の取引を検証できるようになります。各ビットコインは、サトシと称する1億分の1の単位に分割可能で、分割したビットコインはお金だけではなく、資産証書になるようプログラミングが可能です。ビットコインのブロックチェーンは中央当局が不要で、あらゆる種類の取引検証が可能になります。
The Bitcoin blockchain is a tremendous technological innovation that enables distributed consensus. People are able to come to agreement on what the state of this ledger should be and what it is. And that enables people to have trust without trusting any other party or person or institution. So anywhere we need to have trust, where we need to be able to verify what is the true and correct state of something, that has an application to be put on the Bitcoin blockchain.
For 6,000 years of recorded history, we've always had this problem when we want to engage in consensual exchange. That is, if we're strangers, can I trust you? And what's happening with Bitcoin and the blockchain, the technology that powers Bitcoin, is it's now possible for us to have trustworthy exchange without those third parties. The trust is built in through the cryptography. That guarantees the exchange of value. Well, that means that there's this technology that is as disruptive as the internet was to publishing, but this is disruptive to these 100 different institutions that really are the glue that pull society together. You know, everything from as mundane as notary publics to the land titling, to coining money, to voting. All kinds of these things are going to be recreated in the blockchain in a way that we will finally be able to fully trust. But what that means is what we've seen technology do to lots of private industries is now going to start doing to government function.
The thing for me is understanding the implications of what this is. You can take 100 million bits of a Bitcoin. Each bit is called a Satoshi, right? And you can program that to be anything of value. It can represent titles to automobiles or real estate or diamonds or gold or votes in elections. Anything of value can now be digitized and tokenized, put up on the blockchain, and transacted, can be sent across the internet without having to go through a trusted third party. I think the blockchain and Bitcoin is going to change the world. I think it's going to change everything in terms of protecting people's identities, allowing people to own property. Bitcoin's for the 2 billion people that don't have bank accounts, the 5 billion people that can't prove they exist. They don't have title to real estate and stuff. That's what Bitcoin's going to change the most for those people, is because, you know, they're going to jump from the third world to the first world. It's really going to revolutionize Latin America, Africa, Southeast Asia, where people can finally now own real estate. We can have a transparent election that can't be hacked. Imagine. That's going to change the world in and of itself.
Tempers are beginning to flare. These people have already been in queue for more than 3 hours now. Carrying currency notes, the government suddenly banned on Tuesday night.
誰でも電話にアプリをインストールするだけでビットコインを使い始めることができるので、発展途上国では不安定な通貨や政府による管理から自分の資産を守るためにビットコインを利用できます。
We're seeing it behave as a crisis currency in Venezuela, in Nigeria, in Zimbabwe. When these countries can't get a grasp on their own monetary policy, people flood to Bitcoin.
The fate of the unbanked and underbanked population no longer lies in the hands of corrupt governments, centrally planned economies, and central banks. There's a new option, a plan B.
Personally, I live in the United States, and a lot of people in the US get bank accounts very easily, have credit cards, debit cards, and all of that, and they don't find that there are too many frictions and pain points. But in a country like India, there are 233 million individuals who are unbanked, who don't have access to a traditional financial infrastructure, and so they're operating cash payment to cash payment. But Bitcoin has become a game changer. So individuals, in essence, can hold on to it, they can spend it, they can transfer it internationally. There are so many use cases.
現在、ビットコインの取引にはかなりの手数料が伴う場合があるので、少額の取引用には不向きです。しかしビットコインはプログラミングが可能なお金なので、それに新たな機能やテクノロジーを組み込むことができます。近い将来、そのような進展例であるライトニングネットワークというものがビットコイン取引のコストを引き下げるのに役立つでしょう。
At the moment, Bitcoin is actually suffering from being too popular. One of the challenges that Bitcoin has is every transaction needs computational power to process. So at the moment, Bitcoin can settle about 4 to 7 transactions a second. And in the future, each of those 4 to 7 transactions a second can contain 1 million transactions within it. And that's what the second layer and Lightning is trying to do. It will just make it so much more efficient and so much cheaper for the average person.
ライトニングネットワークのビットコインプロトコルへの統合は、ビットコインを迅速、安価で効率的な決済システムへとスケール化させることでしょう。実施が進めば、これは発展途上国に著しい好影響を及ぼすでしょ
う。One of the stumbling blocks to doing international business is the payment system. And to be honest, if you're taking credit cards from some countries, those countries are so associated with fraud that your rates on all credit cards you take just become astronomical, and it becomes prohibitive.
Something like 33% of the credit card transactions coming out of Africa are fraudulent. So nobody wants to take business from Africa. It's just too risky. With Bitcoin, you know the funds are good. So as a merchant, yeah, pay with Bitcoin. I'll sell anything you want, that's legal to Africa. That has tremendous implications, to be able to get access to these types of products and services so seamlessly. And then they're able to start having property rights. And property rights is really what's going to help lift them up out of poverty.
より身近な国々のデジタル世界では、政府が現金を段階的に廃止し、それをデジタル通貨で置き換え始めています。個人のプライバシーをめぐる懸念が極めて現実的な環境で、ビットコインは政府政策の管理外で金融主権を提供します。
When you have a situation where the government is trying to control, they don't want people to have the means of hiding anything from them. Not just from a tax standpoint, they want to know what everyone's doing in Big Brother fashion. So, the way that I look at Bitcoin is it's the ultimate monetary weapon that the people have never had in history.
Every government in the world wants to go cashless. One of the reasons is that in a cashless society, you are not able to exit the banking system. When people panic, they run to the ATM machines, they run to the bank and they withdraw money. The other thing is the governments are starting to run out of money, and governments don't build anything. They just use other people's money. So they are treating everyone as a tax evader. I believe the main reason why Bitcoin is so popular and important is not because of its finite supply and being gold. It's because of anti-money laundering laws preventing people from doing what they want with their money.
One of the main functions of government is to create currency. And Bitcoin is successful only because of its potential for circumvention, lack of oversight. So it seems to me it ought to be outlawed. It doesn't serve any socially useful function.
As to whether or not Bitcoin is illegal or should be seen to be illegal, cash has been used for a whole heck of a lot more illegal things than Bitcoin has through the years, and still is today. Cash is untraceable. It's easily transportable. Nobody knows where that dollar has been and how it's been moved from hand to hand to hand. So it's just a matter of making that connection that a cryptocurrency is really not a new thing. It's just a different version in a digital form of something that's existed in our society and legal structures for millennia.
ビットコインはパラダイムシフトであり、レガシー金融制度に挑戦するものです。米国最大の銀行である JP モーガンチェイス会長兼 CEO のジェイミー・ダイモンは最近ビットコインは詐欺であると主張しました。
Why is Bitcoin a fraud? Here's the reason. Governments, the first thing they do is form a currency. They like to control the currency. They control it through a central bank. They also like to know who has it, where it is, where it's going. Wait until someone gets hurt. Wait until it's used for illicit purposes, which it is somewhat used for illicit purposes. They close it down.
You got people like Jamie Dimon, a serious guy, calling it a fraud.
Calling it a fraud? You mean like there was hundreds of billions of dollars of securities that Jamie Dimon sold the public a decade ago called mortgage-backed securities? He's calling Bitcoin a fraud? Is that going to go to zero like his securities that he sold the public?
First with respect to asking a banker about whether they like Bitcoin or not, that's kind of like asking a king, do you like democracy? It's just so thoroughly frustrating and insulting when people who know very little about what we do watch an up-and-coming technology and have the audacity to call us all criminals. We're not the criminals here. The whole damn reason this ecosystem exists is because they're the criminals. And it doesn't really matter at this point what he thinks. The genie's out of the bottle. Somebody in this room or somebody at this conference or somebody around the world is going to solve the problem of decentralized lending and value-stable currencies and decentralized exchange. And within 5 to 10 years, banks will become less and less relevant, just like landline telephones are becoming less and less relevant. And we're going to wake up one day and we're going to be in charge of our own money. And Jamie Dimon, in retirement, can watch the world as it is, not the world as he would like it to be.
ビットコインブロックチェーンは中央当局の管理外にあり、分散コンセンサスで構築されています。しかし、暗号通貨の台頭をめぐる騒動に対し、中央銀行と商業銀行は自称ブロックチェーン技術という見せかけのもとに独自のデジタル通貨開発に着手しました。
My big fear is that what is going to happen is blockchain technology will be adopted by governments, and fiat national currencies will be run on blockchain technologies, and the whole monetary system globally will eventually become cashless. And at that point, if it's centralized and there's an entity that runs the blockchain, they can lock you out of it if they don't like what you're doing, and they can trace everything that you do. Every transaction, everywhere you go, will be recorded. And so, you know, if we're not careful, this has the ability to enslave us or free us.
I think blockchain or any kind of open ledger distributive database will have a tremendous impact on our world. My fear is that, and this is used to centralize, digital technology gives a banker the ability to put a chip in you, to tax you whenever they want, to interface with a money system with you physically, and to perfect the collateral. So I love the innovation, and the question for all of us is, how can we innovate and make the financial system more efficient and do it in a way at the same time where we distribute the power lines in the political system?
The blockchain is a technology, which is a good technology. We actually use it. It will be used for a lot of different things. God bless the blockchain. Cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, you know, I think are also fine. You know, JP Morgan moves $6 trillion around the world every day. We don't do it in cash. It's done digitally. Yeah. If it can be done digitally with the blockchain, so be it. But it'll still be a dollar cryptocurrency.
A majority of the people are using the word blockchain, and they don't really care whether it has this decentralized mining. The government is going to just have a digital representation of the dollar. They can call it a blockchain, but there's not going to be mining. There's not going to be decentralization. It's going to be a centralized coin. Whether they call it a blockchain or not is irrelevant.
The whole purpose of a blockchain is to remove control from a central party. If you're a central bank and you make a blockchain for dollars, and then you have dollar coin, if you still have full control over the dollar coin, you can create how much of it you want, you can control where it goes. There was no point in having a blockchain at all. You might as well just have a centralized database like a banking system. To really use blockchains in any meaningful way, it means that there is no person in charge. And so a central bank, by definition, is the one who is supposed to be in charge of money. And thus they would never create a blockchain or a cryptocurrency that they couldn't control. So that's why they will likely be made redundant, because the market can choose what kind of money it uses. And it now has a choice between a digital currency that can be controlled by central parties and inflated without limit, or a digital currency that cannot be controlled by any central party and that has a fixed amount and can't be debased. Over time, that's going to be a very obvious choice.
ビットコインとそれを支えるブロックチェーンは極めて強力なテクノロジーです。将来これらのテクノロジーは金融制度を全員に対し公平で平等なものへと再構築するのに使用できるかもしれません。銀行業エリートのコントロール外にあるシステムです。
We have millions of people now taking an interest in what is money, the question of what is money, what should it be, and they're learning, especially a lot of young people.
かつては貴金属がお金でした。その後、紙幣の時代が到来しました。私たちは今、分散化デジタルマネーの黄金時代の幕を開けようとしているのでしょうか。それは時間が経たなければわかりません。
Bitcoin is first and foremost about changing how the financial system of the planet operates. However, Bitcoin is also a financial asset itself, and it goes through these bubbles, and people have made many millions of dollars when they buy it low, and then it goes up in value. But that's not really what matters at all. What matters is that it's actually going to change the entire ecosystem of the planet, how all humans interact with each other, and that's a very exciting thing to be part of.